Good day, everybody. Peace, love, and harmony to you all. I am Peacekeeper, and I'm out here in the heart of nature, just raising my frequency. Feels so good to be alive, baby. Feels so good to be here. Right now, whoa, whoa, right now, in this present moment. Here, to shake some shit up in a beautiful way. If you're receiving this message right now, trust that the universe is using me as a tool to deliver this message to you. Trust that you were meant to hear this. Whenever that this message has found you, hey, know that it was meant to find you. Today's message, I'll be diving deep within the depths of true strength, the inexhaustible strength, where it stems from, where it comes from, how to always have that strength and be able to stand firm on your own. How to heal yourself and find the strength within yourself. This topic stemmed from a lady today asking me, how am I so consistent? How am I able to freely speak my mind and heart out effortlessly every day and still deal with life at the same time? So I decided to share my story with her. I decided to share my life experience with her. So I'm going to share this with you guys also. Now, I've already shared this story on my channel, but hey, you can never share it enough, right? The more you share it, the more you integrate it, and the stronger you get from sharing it. It just shows how much you have overcome it. And this story is about me growing up, me in my encounters in relationships, and me dealing with mental turmoil, mental problems, emotional problems, a lot of deep dark shit that I've been through. So let's dive into it. And I'll try to cut it up into bits and pieces because this story is not a story that can be told in just 30 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. No, it's a story that really it needs to be dived within deeply for it to be pinpoint accurate the way that it actually happened. But I will play it off just the major points. So for starters, I for one grew up having to deal with the loss of a mother, meaning that she's alive, but she suffered with depression. She was on medication for it. She even had a lot of issues psychologically, where she was in and out of sentence. So I was without a mother for my whole childhood period, and that created a feeling of longingness within me for a mother in my life. Aside from that, my father didn't care. He was one of those that no emotion, just logic. So I learned a lot of traits from him where that is concerned, to be tough and hard, always suppressing myself, suppressing my emotions, because it made no sense to talk about it because nobody wanted to hear about it. So kept it to myself, which created emotional turmoil, which created pent up anger, which created a lot of negative emotions in me, myself, internally. But I still had a lot of care and a lot of heart. So I still shared that care and shared my feelings towards others, share my love towards others, but I wasn't giving it to myself because I wasn't truly expressing myself fully. My definition of love was backwards because of wrong brought up wrong teachings. So I ended up in a relationship also, whereas the same thing, the person that I was in the relationship with have issues. I have my own issues, family issues, daddy issues, mama issues. She also has her own issues, family issues, mommy issues, daddy issues, vice versa. But let's dive straight into the point of this message. I was to the point, at one point in the relationship, I was at my breaking point. And in my breaking point, these are the things that I went through. I tried to kill myself, by one, because I didn't want to harm her, because I didn't want to hurt her. Two, I used to cuff the wall anytime that I was getting too angry because I didn't know any other way to release the anger. I didn't know any other way to get it out. So I used to just take it out on myself or take it out on something else. Cause myself a lot of pain, self-inflicted pain. And this is the darkest place that anyone can be in. This is where the mind takes, the egoic mind turns against itself. And that happened to me. And that happening to me, it caused me a lot of internal pain. It caused me a lot of, loss of love, because I was so focused on giving someone else my love, aside from giving myself that love. I hurt myself in the mix, and then blamed everybody else for my problems, and then blamed everybody else for the shit that I was going through, that I was doing to myself. You see, I chose to stay in that relationship even though it wasn't best suited for me, even though it wasn't making me feel good mentally, even though I was always facing the shitty end of the stick. I chose to stay in that relationship. I chose to be a puppet. You see, in that relationship, my partner could have never done anything wrong. Anytime something happened or we have an argument, I am the one wrong. So I have to be the one to say, alright, sorry baby, I will take the fall. She perfect. Hey, alright, you go ahead. And I left it as that. Just to avoid arguing. Just to avoid argument. Why? Because I grew up around arguing. I grew up around aggression. I grew up around these things. My grandmother used to always be arguing. So I couldn't take arguing. I couldn't stand it. So I just used to take the shitty end of the stick and say, hey, alright. But, yet again, this is where I started to harm myself. Because I couldn't say anything, I couldn't vent anything yet again in a relationship where there's supposed to be communication. It had no communication, so it therefore had no relationship. But because also I was choosing to stay with her because I was looking for love in her, trying to make a relationship work with her, because I thought to myself that I needed to be in a relationship to get love. I stayed in the relationship. And I just kept hurting myself in the mix because she didn't have any love for herself nor for me. I didn't have any love for myself nor for her, really and truly. The relationship was built on lust. She was using me for sex, and I was using her for sex, apparently. I just thought it was love. This is why I know so much about these things, because I've been there. I've done that. I've overcome that. But that being said, in that relationship also, she used to say things to me like, I'm only with her for her body parts, for her pussy. And in that being said, I started to really think, am I really with this girl just because of that? This is why I'm giving myself all that pain for her pussy, for her coochie? Is it that valuable? Is it that much of a jewel, of a gem? Really? That I'm putting myself through all this pain, all this struggle to stay with her just for that? So we broke up. And within 3 days' time, well, I got our next one. So the same thing that happened when we started the relationship where I was her rebound, I did it to someone else. And so this cycle repeated itself. Inflicted pain on someone else. I felt bad for it, but it showed me, hey, that I can't get another pussy. So what does this girl think that I'm really there for? That being said, even self, we were broken up. I knew that she still wanted me. She still wanted to be in a relationship with me. Because she was also bipolar. This individual was suffering with bipolar disorder. So one minute she likes me, next minute she doesn't like me. One minute she wants me around, the next minute she didn't used to want me around. But again, as I said, this is a lot. The story cannot be told in just 20 minutes or 30 minutes. But I'll say whatever it is I could say. Right? And it caused a lot of confusion, yet again, within my mind, which had me back and forth also in two worlds. Do I love her? Do I like her? Do I genuinely want to be with this person for the rest of my life? But you see, years and years has passed already. Time has already passed, and I don't like to give up on what I put my time and energy into. I've already been taking on so much in the relationship just to make things work, taking the shitty end of the stick, blaming myself for everything that happened, taking the brunt of the negative, like I was the bad guy. I always allowed myself to be the bad guy. So I came back and I said, well, I apologize. Not once, maybe once or twice, she apologized, but very rare. So I'm going to lie there. About twice, to be exact. Not that I had to count. Every other time was me. And in that mix, we became, how to put it, out of touch completely with what we really wanted. And I say we because at that point I also didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know. Because one minute I would say to myself, I done. I don't want to be with you no more. But yet still, I'll go right back running to she like a little puppy. Like a little puppet on a string. And she knew that I would too. She got accustomed to me doing that. She got accustomed to me, being the one to start the conversation. She got accustomed to me being the one to say, you know, let's work it out. Let's see what we can work on to fix it and make things better in the mix, in the process. These were the words, you know, and many other things too. You know, even going to the point where I would ride from my hometown, which was like about 50 k's away from where she is. It took like about an hour to ride there. Sometimes even late at night just to surprise her after work. You know, things like that. I put myself on the brink of always having to be the one to do it first, to show it first, while none of it was being really reciprocated to me, but yet still I stayed. So really, maybe I was really there for just the coochie. Enough of all of that though. The relationship started to get very toxic, more toxic than it already was, because of the constant back and forth, make up, break up. So aside from me already hurting myself also because of the whole turmoil and because of all of the shit that was going on. So that again, as I say, the story is a very meticulous story. So I am just bitsing it back together because it's a past story which I have already dealt with, which also me and the individual have already spoken about thereafter, you know, face to face, and you know, we talked about it and we let it go, but we also had another conversation after that, couple of years after the breakup also, just to see, you know, what's going on with her, what's going on with me. I was the one that actually reached out to see, well, hey, how's she doing? Just a check up. And she answered, and she actually wanted to meet me. You know, she actually wanted to have a little lime, you know, and etc. But it was like not necessary. I just really and truly was checking up to see how she was going. But yet again, it just showed me that, hey, I'm not that bad. Because even after all the shit that we went through, she still wanted to meet up. Why? Because she couldn't have sex with anybody else. That's what she said to me. So who was the one really lost in the relationship? Talk to me, guys. Talk to me. I thought it was me for a second. Why? Because I always blame myself. I always took up other people's problems as my own and say to myself, yeah, this got to be me, because that's what they see. That's their perception. That's their perspective about me. So hey, it definitely has to be me, allowing other people's perception to be above my own. So all the self-harm and all the self-inflicted pain that I did to myself caused me to have a lack of confidence within myself. Until I reached the point where, after, this one was actually the last. The very last. After that one, aside from the coughing at the wall, the banging at the head, these things, the slit on my wrist was the last straw for me. Because in the hospital, the doctor was like, who did this? I was like, I did that. She was like, again. And I would have cut a major artery, a major vein, where I could have bled to death within 30 seconds from blood loss if I had cut that vein. And it was from that I realized that, wait a minute, God, source, the universe, creator, call it whatever you want to call it, wasn't ready for me yet. It's from that I realized that I have a bigger purpose here. It's from that I realized that I can't keep hurting myself for someone else. But we still was in a relationship together. Moving in to the next phase, where I started to actually stand up for myself, speak up for myself, stop taking the blame for everything. the relationship started to get violent. Whereas I drew a straw where I slapped her. I crossed the line. I slapped her across her face. Felt guilty for it, but I was like, she deserved that slap. Because she disrespected me. She blaming me for everything all the time. She hurting me deliberately. And then not even giving a shit about how I feel. Genuinely. So, in one of the arguments where she was blatantly disrespecting me, I slapped she. I get called an abuser for it, a woman abuser for it. She dirty my name. She tell everybody, all she friends. She tell everybody about it. Break up with me. And then after that, she get back together. Why? Because she know that all. She know what all that I have already done for her. She knew and she remembered the amount of work that I was putting in to keep the relationship together before it reached to that point. So she still chose to get back with me. Even when she also called me a cheater. Where when I got the next coochie on the day that she said, hey, I only with her for a coochie, and she break up and we break up for 3 days. Within that 3-day period of time, I get you with something else. She called me a honor for that. But we was done. So I don't understand how I was a honor or a cheater. But I even take the brunt of that too. I said, I fine, I a cheater. Because I knew damn well that, hey, she bipolar, right? She will change her mind and we will make back up, right? Yeah, because that has been the routine. My fault. I take the blame yet again. Yet again, moving into the relationship even deeper. Yet again, as I said, this story is a very intricate story. This story cannot be told in half an hour, but I'm trying my best right now and I'm watching the clock. Right? Moving in, we renting together. We have a space together. Brand new, fresh out of the box. Starting from scratch. Nothing that... We came with nothing in this place. We had nothing in this place, basically. That was just it. The whole apartment was just empty. So we started off with a blow-up bed alone. Right? 2 teenagers. I was about 19. She was now about 18 at that time. It was 2 years into the relationship. So I could have been 20 and she could have been 19. Right? But this is when we started renting together. 2 years. And also this is when a lot more of the issues started to take place. Because now I can't break up with you. So I thought. Because we in this together now. Right? I can't leave she hanging. Vice versa. She probably felt like she couldn't leave me hanging. Regardless of all the toxic shit that we have already been through. So we still had to suck it up and do what we have to do. Going down the relationship now. We were building, buying things for the space, for the apartment, washing machine, TV, fridge, stove, etc., etc., essentials for our house, for our home. And the money was tied, it was split half and half. She pays some, I pay some. And so it was kept going. So a lot of my time and energy and effort went into that relationship. Whereas when things started to get a little more shaky and a little more tough also, I actually started smoking weed and stuff like that because of the depression that I was facing in the relationship. It even reached to the point where, aside from when the violence was taking place, aside from those things, now we had to see about rent, now we had to see about ourselves and still deal with trauma. COVID came and hit and I lost my job. I got laid off in COVID timing. And I remember the time that I was the one really and truly still going down in any circumstance, any situation to be there for she. And when it was time for her to repay me that favor, wow, I see the true colors of who this girl really is. I see the true colors. Now this was actually supposed to be before the fighting, by the way. So you see how backwards the story is. But it is what it is. Like I said, it will come back as it comes back. I ain't perfect with the story and I ain't trying to be. In all of that, it came to the point where I'm down, I'm out, and she now has to be the one to hold the upkeep. And she couldn't do that. Not for me, at least. It reached the point where I had was to leave. Nowhere to go. Nobody to turn to because I disrespected my family for her, by the way. My choice yet again. I'm the villain in this story, by the way. I did all the harm. I inflicted pain. I hit a woman. I'm the villain in this story. Notice the villain needed to go through a lot of dark shit. So I caused myself to be left without any type of options. Aside from a couple of friends who helped me out a little bit. Where there was a guy who I was good with. He kept me in his home for a while, for a little bit, but I couldn't stay there either because it's not really his place. So couldn't go back home because I disrespected my grandmother for her, for calling her a black cockroach, because my grandmother was racist. She didn't like black people. But it is what it is. So I disrespected she and I cussed she out in she own place. Why? For another girl. I got helped out by another friend. Stayed by him for about 2 months. Been trying to get a job, which was very difficult, especially in COVID timing. But it is what it is. When I reached and I overstayed my maximum due there, had to leave again, nowhere to turn to, nowhere to go. An aunt actually helped me out in that time frame. And so the story went on until I ended up from place to place to place, jumping from, a lot of people helped me in that time. Got to say, people that I didn't even think had my back. But it reached the point where, hey, I couldn't keep doing this. So I got up one day and I took all my stuff and I left. Why? Because I didn't want to be a burden to anybody. And I just disappeared. Also because the universe kind of called me. I felt like I was being called to just get out of that environment totally. This is why it didn't matter where I went. It didn't matter where I go. I still wasn't ever really finding that comfort. I wasn't finding it. And it's in leaving, finding my ass in a whole completely different zone, not knowing where life was taking me, not knowing where I would end up. I ended up here. Even that bird's like, yeah. I ended up in nature. And it's in me ending up in nature is where my healing started. my genuine healing started in nature. From all my past, from all the shit that I've done, from all the things that I encountered along the way, I realized that, hey, yet again, I'm the villain because I did everything to myself. But it's in facing my pain, facing the dark aspects of myself, the things that I was running away from, I realized that nobody else did anything to me, you know. I did everything to myself because everything was my choice. And this is when I stopped complaining. This is when I stopped judging anybody else for what they do. This is when I found it within myself to take out the accountability mirror and say to myself, hey, it's me. I'm the problem. So I got to deal with me. I got to fix me. And this is when I started to deal with me, to fix me. Now that I am happy, genuinely within my own skin, with being alone, being by myself, proud of my experiences, grateful for all my experiences. There's a lot more to that story, by the way, but that's all I'm going to say for today. Even in the relationship with my ex, there's a lot more, but that's all I'm going to say for today. Nature has helped me through it all. Nature has supported me through it all. Nature kept me sane. Everything that I speak about also, I speak about from experience. I've been through it. And I speak about it. This is how I became free from it. I faced it. Speaking about it helped me to be free from it. Speaking about it helped me to heal from it, rather than suppressing it and just keeping it within. And even aside from going through all of that in relationships, I was still able to be open and vulnerable in another relationship and many other relationships. These relationships are not sexual, but the last one, sexual relationship that I was in, I was still able to be open and vulnerable. Now I'll save that one for another day, because this video will go on and on and on and on, and I've already talked about these things. But the universe told me to share this again. So, that's my story. I hit a woman. Why? Because she was mentally inflicting pain and torture in my mind. Whereas, I should have left the relationship rather than staying there. But I still stayed there. And then blamed her for everything. She still stayed with me. And then blamed me for everything. So you see, it was just a back and forth of playing blame game and victim. No one taking accountability for their choices in the relationship. And hence, hey, didn't end up good. Now she get through. She had everything because I actually left out everything. And I chose to go on this road. And build from scratch again. Build from nothing. I didn't even try to fight back to get anything. Why? Because I was like, I'm a man. I go find a way. And since then, I've been building back myself. I've been finding that strength again to stand up on my own. And hey, life for me hasn't been an easy ride, hasn't been an easy road. But yet again, as I say, I don't complain. Because complaining just brings me further away from the solution. It just pulls me away from the solution. So I do what I have to do, and I make ends meet. That's it. Hey, I am PCP. And if this story has helped you understand that, hey, put you first, basically, that is the moral of the whole story. Put you first in front of anybody. Put your mental peace in front of anybody. If somebody is affecting you mentally, The best thing in a nutshell one can do is walk away. This is the lesson that I have learned, and this is what I do now. Now, if I have something to say, I see what it is that I have to say, because I'm not suppressing myself. And if it's reaching to the point where, hey, I am being aggravated or angered, I pull away. I draw away my energy. You come to me though, hey, don't come to me. Don't come up in my face. Don't try to attack me, because yet again I'll pull away again. But if you come to try, hey, I defend myself. That is it. I ain't no bubbly. Not this rounds. Sorry to say, but sorry not sorry. That's me. I'm out.